Hey guys, it's Dr. Curvy here and we're back with another video. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a guide to itemization. And that itemization means items, boots, and also runes. Runes will be briefly, but it also plays an important role in this itemization process. Now, as you can see, I have like a guideline on here. You can see that post-it note. Um, I might need that for reference because I want to get my point straight across and clear. Considering this is an unscripted video and I don't script my videos, I want to get, you know, I want you guys to get the idea that I'm trying to convey when it comes to this video. So yeah, with that being said, let's get on with this guide. Now, you're thinking to yourself, why are you making this guide? Well, let me tell you something, honey. I've been playing a lot recently again, you know, since my 2 week break, you know, I reached Diamond 4, but then dropped to Emerald 1 again because of, you know, that's how it is, duh. I feel like it's gonna take me 500 games to be master. I've only played like 150. But that being said, a lot of people are not itemizing, you know? Like, I get it. You know, you just want to play what they gave you, but sometimes it's important to adapt, and that's not really what Riot is trying to showcase to us. Like, just because the build is there doesn't mean that's the right build. You can also adapt, you know, because you'll be surprised how much stronger you can become if you adapt to the game and counter build these champions from time to time. So we are going to do that and talk about it. Now, what is itemization? Itemization basically means in general like a list of items, right? But in league terms, itemization means it's like adapting from the start of the match, from champ select. You're gonna be like, okay, this is the team. Okay, these are the champions. What are we gonna do? What's our plan? Like that, like that. You can play whatever champion you want. You know, you don't have to counter pick your champion. So if you don't want to do that, just build it with your items, you know, because that's what they're for. These items are built for a reason. They're just not here because, okay, let's handpick a few ones and then that's your build. No, you have to adapt to it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what itemization means. You just have to, after your core, you have to adapt to the game and what the enemy team is building. And that's the T. You get it, right? If you didn't get it, repeat my definition again on the video. So how and when should you itemize? Let's do it in step by step. Here we go. Okay, so first of all, let's look at champion. There's a lot. And I love this website, lol. What's the website? This website is called lolwildriftbuild.com, and surprisingly they're still active updating the site, so thank you so much. I like that this website kind of put the champions in roles. So we got some fighter champions, we got some mage champions, we got some marksman champions, we got assassins, we got tanks, and we got supports. That's enough of an idea to be like, okay, I gotta figure out how to build this. For example, if you have someone like Samira ADC, Aurelia Baron lane, Vlad mid lane, Swain support. Who else is in the jungle? Warwick jungle. Just from those names, Warwick, Aurelia, Vlad, Samira, and Swain, all those champions have one thing in common: healing. You have to figure out what are these champions specializing in. What makes them powerful, basically. So you have to figure out a way how to counter them. You know what I mean? So the only way that can counter these these champions, are through anti-heal. Now, whenever I play this game, no one really builds anti-heal. Usually you build your anti-heal around your 4th, 5th, maybe 3rd item. What I do when I build is, for example, I have my support item. We'll do this in an example of Senna. I have my support item. I have my Muramana, Senna, you know, long story. And then I have a second item, which could be Umbral. Let's say if Umbral is in the game. Okay, it's not in the game anymore, but let's say Umbral. So what's next for me? Well, we see the team that I just mentioned earlier getting tankier, and they're finishing off their healing items. Like Samira just finished her Bloodthirster or something like that, for example. And then I have to start building my Mortal Reminder. Now, a lot of people are confused. Whenever I say build anti-heal, that doesn't mean you have to build the entire item. You can just build the first part of the item. Just build this. Just build this. Or if you're an AP player, just build this. That's it. You don't have to build the item fully. Whenever I play, whenever I see those healing champions, I always just buy this. I don't even go for my Ludens. For example, if I'm playing Lux, I don't go for my Ludens. I always build this because I know that laning phase will be hell if someone like a Sona or a Soraka gets away with so much healing. Especially with Soraka doesn't have to sacrifice her health anymore. You know what I mean? So it's better to lessen their healing so that they waste more mana, so that they can't react for whenever we initiate. They can't use their first skill, they can't use their second skill or third skill. They can just spam heal but not use their other abilities, you know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of people think that they have to finish the item. They don't have to finish the item, you know what I mean? And I always sacrifice my early damage. Like if I play Lux, I'm not going to build my Ludens as a support. I'm going to build this because I feel like it has more value. It's weak now because it's not ramping up the healing. But when you get to the late game, it scales really like high. So I have to build it now. So be like, oh, I forgot I had this. You know what I mean? Especially in certain situations. If I'm playing Sona and there's a Soraka, I have to build Tier because she needs mana to sustain in lane. And also the Oblivion Orb. So I have to do my math. You have to do your math. And considering your first purchase in game is an amplifying tome, you can get away with it, you know. Do your maths, girl. Considering this is 500. So when you buy this, it's gonna be 500 as well. Or I think it's 800. Maths, girl. So you get what I'm saying? So it's really important to adapt to the team. Also, another thing to know when and how you should itemize is what types are they? Are they AD? Are they AP? Are they hybrid? Now, hybrid meaning like AP and AD. A good example of a hybrid champion is, where is he? Jax. Jax scales off AD, but he has some significant AP ratio sometimes from stuff, you know. Or Warwick. Warwick isn't. You think Warwick is AD, but he has some AP abilities, and some abilities scale off of AP sometimes. But he's mostly an auto attacker, so you know, he doesn't really rely much on that AP. Oh, I was gonna say APness. Okay, so another thing is if you're fighting a champion one-on-one, for example, if you're a Baron laner, what do you do in that situation? Sometimes when I play, I adapt to the enemy champion I'm facing rather than the entire team. Now that's a good and a bad thing because it could F you up or it could lead you to snowball in the lane and then you can build better items later on. What I'm saying is you're not building your core early. You're building to adapt the enemy team and then you're building your core last, which is kind of risky. A good example of this is if I'm facing a Gwen, what do? Do you fight? Do you build anti-heal against her or do you build MR against her? Now that's a tricky question because Miss Gwyneth deals true damage. If you're a good enough person to not get hit by the center of her snip, you'll be fine. So maybe early MR will be good for her, against her. Anti-heal, maybe. But if you're a tank and you build Bramble, she can chunk you because she's a tank killer. Also, if you're someone who's like a fighter all in, I think it could work. But there is some items as well. Let me look at my guide if I'm on track. Yeah. Another example is some items. This is the next part of, you know, the vibe. There are some items that you can use to counter build with, you know. And not many people really buy. I don't see them as much. For example, hello, Seeker's Arm Guard, well-known item in PC that builds into Zhonya's, which is an enchant here. This is really good against champions in mid lane versus ADs, and we see them a lot recently, like Zeds, Akshans, Yasuo's, Yones. Who else is AD? Whatever. Jhin, Caitlyn, Tristana, those ADCs go mid. This is good because it builds off into... So there's this item called Crystalline Reflector. Now, it gives decent stats and, you know, 60 is not a lot, but this is not a core item. This is a counter item. That's why it's so cheap, 2,900, right? Read the passive, Mirrored Force. Ability cast grants a mirror shard up to 3 that each block 10 physical damage plus your AP from an enemy champion and deal 20 magic damage plus 10% AP to them. So there's a lot of numbers, but if those numbers add up into the late game, this will do a lot. And when I've played mid lane against Zed, I built the Seeker's Arm Guard first as a Vex, for example, because that will benefit me later on. Or finish the whole item. It's pretty cheap, and sometimes a big item lead like this plus your boots will come a long way, and then you can scale up later on with your core items if you build them on later. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's that. Another item is, where is it? Maw. No one builds this much. Now, if you're a Riven or a Zed versus a lot of AP, I'm surprised that this item is not being built much. Maw. Now, if you guys don't know, the what do you call this word? The first part of this item, which is not really here anymore, they removed it probably. So Maw had an item. Did they really remove it? Girly. Oh, there it is. Why is it a defense item? So there's this item called Hex Drinker. Now, Hex Drinker is basically a mini version of Maw, where it gives you 15 attack damage, which is not a lot. That's why it's so cheap. But look at the 30 magic resistance. Those stats will benefit you later on, and you don't have to buy Merc Treads. You can buy Merc Treads because of the CC, but you don't have to buy it for the MR. Now look at the passive lifeline. Magic damage that puts you under 35% health, which is pretty lots. Grants a shield that absorbs 150 magic damage for 5 seconds. For 5 seconds, you get a shield that protects you from damage. So incoming bursts that can kill you, it will pop and you can get saved, and then you can kill the enemy APC, the AP carry. So yeah, I barely see this, barely seen this being built. I don't know if this item is still in Wild Rift because this is really outdated. As you can see, the old items are still here, like Hextech Mega Drive, which is really old. But you get what I mean though, right? Like, not many people are really adapting to these items. I mean, people only build whenever they don't even build Bramble. They don't even build anti-heal. You know what I mean? These items are here for a reason. That's why they're being built, and none of them are building it. Like, you can have your core build, like your Ludens and stuff, but there's also other items that could be beneficial for you to counter with them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the items I've mentioned from throughout the video. So yeah, make sure you guys read and adapt. You have to really understand champion knowledge. You have to understand item knowledge. You have to understand how they played the champion like that. It's a lot of work, but when you're playing every day and you're playing consistently, it gets easier with time. Trust. Like, I was about to build this item, Serpent's Fang, and not many people build it. In a meta right now where it's very this is not really beneficial right now because it's not really a shield meta. It's a very squishy meta right now, so it's not beneficial. But if you're against someone with a Lux or Sona who provides so much shields, or someone with that boots, Ionian, what's that boots called? Locket enchant, Locket of the Solari enchant. Those are beneficial. Those are weak, I mean, to this item. Because as you can see, Shield Reaver, dealing damage to an enemy champion reduces any shields they gain. 50% for melees and 35% for range for 3 seconds. When you damage an enemy who isn't affected by Shield Reaver, reduce all shields on them by the same amount. But you get what I mean, right? So make sure you guys read the official on the game items. So yeah. Also, another item that no one builds is Wit's End versus a Teemo. Maw and Wit's End are really underrated items against magic damage, and a lot of people are complaining there's no items to counter magic damage. Girl, you got some over here. Wit's End is so good against a Teemo. Irelia could benefit from this, Kale, Tryndamere, and they're not really building it. If you build Wits with the Merc Treads, you're so tanky that you can actually snowball and actually last that Teemo Shroom. Because they're not building penetration early, they're building magic damage. They usually build penetration at the end so that they can counter you so that, you know, you can die quicker. But they're not doing it early. They won't expect it. Okay. That's my points of items. Once again, read through. Go through these items. Remember Banshee's Veil? Remember her? Like that. These items exist. Anyway, ni hao. Now we'll move on to the boots. Boots. We love a boot. Okay, so now let's talk about the boots. Now, it's also crucial sometimes, well, in my support role, but I don't know about you damage dealer roles out there, to adapt to certain items. Now, this boot is gone for sure, so she's crossed out. But let's talk about the boots. Now, for example, I'm playing a support enchanter. You always want to buy Mercs and not Mercs, sorry. You want to buy Boots of Mana and Ionian Boots of Lucidity, right? Now, in the case of a situation where you're against someone with a lot of CC, it's okay to change your boots from time to time. but you're gonna sacrifice your cooldowns and damage. So I would take Mercury Treads if you're against an Alistar, Leona, Thresh, Nami, any Sona even with her ultimate. Anyone with has a lot of CC, because Merc Tread reduces any types of CC for 35%. That's a lot. Same case with Plated Steel Caps. They give you more armor and also movement speed and also blocking 50% of physical damage relief. So it's really important to sometimes sacrifice and not buying these items to provide this, especially in a time where these exist. Boots of Dynamism and Boots of Gluttonous Greaves. These are broken right now, especially with Gluttonous Greaves getting buffed. So Samira and all are popping off. So it's important to be a bit more tanky because they won't expect it. That's why we're trying to transition into this like tank era, because there's so many squishies popping up. So the only way to counter them is through being a bit more tankier than them, so that you can outlast them. That's the goal, outlast them. Now enchants doesn't really play much of a big role, but there is a few items that can play a big role. An example could be Quicksilver enchant for you, or even the Veil enchant for your team. It's kind of like a spell shield, right? So like a Morgana E. Also another item is the Ionian Locket. Locket enchant. I keep saying Ionian Boots. Now this is important because they changed it now. It's no longer magic damage, it's just shield. It's the old Locket. So it's really important to use this, especially in a team-wide AoE scenario like a Katarina ultimate or a Misfortune ultimate. These little things you can figure out, and you can figure out to adapt so that you can save your team from a team fight if you're a support main. Also, Locket. No, not Locket. Redemption. Redemption is also a good AoE healing that I haven't used in a while, but it's still broken to me because of how the save heals that I've gotten with this is very powerful. So make sure you guys don't forget about her. But yeah, not much boot enchants that can be itemized, but some are, like this Repulsor enchant, where you can back away the enemy team from your ADC. You know, this is good on tanks. This is also good on tanks. The Magnetron, like that. Some items are good for shielding, like the enchants, the protectors, and the revivals. But sometimes you have to sacrifice that for protection of your team. You know what I mean? Next up, lastly, is runes. Now, runes. I'm gonna say this. Sometimes the keystones are beneficial. Sometimes they're not. I wouldn't make this an importance with the keystone because it's for the champion. What I do want to talk about is the sub runes. There is some sub runes that I really like that benefits me and the team comp. It kind of makes my champ better despite I'm building different items. You know what I mean? So a good example, let's start with domination, is this champion is gone. Weakness. Is weakness still there? I think they changed that. Anyway, weakness is good because it gives you more damage based on the CC you have, especially if you're playing an ADC. With root like Morgana and Lux, this will be beneficial for you, even if you're not building too much of an AP vibe, you know, an APC champion. But the one I want to talk about, let's go through the rest first. Okay, they really need to change that. Anyway, the one I want to talk about is Second Wind. Now, this is why I'm going through it briefly, because I just want to talk about Second Wind for a second. This is very important, especially if you're a Baron laner against a ranged matchup, or even an ADC or a support, or even a mid laner with the ranged matchup. Why? Because the healing from this, the passive healing increase, for like you heal more health if you're lower or something like that. You gain health for 5 seconds like that. I'm really bad at explaining how the rune works, but hear me out. It's really good. It gives you sustain in lane, and in some cases it can even add on to the healing regeneration that an item has. For example, Warmogs might. This is a good rune on Mundo as well. But yeah, if you're being poked out, this is a very good item when you know you're sacrificing your CS, especially when you're backing off. Think of it as like a Garen passive. This is a Garen passive, but weaker. So yeah, I'm surprised no one really builds Second Wind much in their matchups. You really have to look at your champ select and your enemy team comps to really figure out how to counter them. And yeah, read the room. It basically means you're planning out what you're gonna do throughout the laning phase, and then how you're gonna get back to it. So that's why second wind is really underrated in the Baron lane scenario, because it just gives you so much sustain despite you losing so much CS because you're being poked out. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was the video. I hope you guys learned something despite, you know, it being unscripted. If you got confused, watch the video multiple times to get my idea. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to showcase to you guys. I hope you guys get better in your games, you know, with these tips. And yeah, not many people have made itemization videos, only 2 from what I've researched. So I guess, yeah, I think it was time for me to make one on my own because I'm an item foray. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, like it. If you dislike it if you didn't. What? Make sure you guys subscribe, notification before I never upload a new video. I am a VTuber who does content variety wise, so there's a lot to be around. Join my Discord, link in the description below, and donate to my PayPal if you want to support the channel in the long run. I am not monetized yet, so any type of donation will help me pursue a career into full-time content creation and also a career in the gaming industry. Follow me on Twitter at drcurvy_YT. And follow me on Twitch at drcurvytv. Once again, all the links are in the description below. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.